I'm going to show you how to make a fox. So this is just a stoneware clay, and it looks a little off-white now, but it typically bisque fires to a nice white, and then when we high fire it with the glaze, the coloring gets a little bit more beige. But anyway, I'm going to start with the body of the fox. I'm just going to kind of roll back and forth because, of course, he's narrower at the neck and shoulders, broader at the back side. So I just rolled back and forth at an angle, and that gives you a nice, almost a triangular sideways or a lopsided triangular shape. Now, this is rather thick. I don't want to put anything this thick in my kiln. So I'm going to take the handle of a tool and put it up inside here and open up the inside, hollowing it out, because if you leave anything rather thick in shape and put it in the kiln, there's the possibility of an air pocket being trapped inside there, and that air pocket will expand or want to expand in the kiln, and then it'll blow up. So the whole idea is to compress out any air pockets and make sure that your clay is thin enough that you can detect if there are air pockets in there and eliminate them. So now I've got this lopsided triangle. I'm kind of skirting this out because he's going to be sitting off to one side. You can kind of see where his spine would go down at an angle. Okay. And I'm not doing a lot of detail on this sculpture. I'm not doing the nose and the eyes in detail, but this very clearly says that it is a fox. So to get the fur texture, I'm using my wire brush, and I'm going to brush the coat all going down. Don't get lazy and go in every which direction because it's not going to look good. You want the hair or the fur coat to look like it is growing in an accurate direction, which would be going down. So I'm just repeatedly doing short strokes. Some people get tired and do this, and that does not look real at all. This is a much better visual, than it is to have long, lazy strokes going down the entire length. And it looks like a nice full coat. So we're obviously coming into winter with the thickness of this fur. Get it all over. There. Okay, so now we've got the fur coat on, and then all I do is to shape the front legs. It was so simple. I just took the tool and went up in here, kind of smoothing it out a little bit, and they usually have a tuft of white fur there that helps to define the front legs a little bit. There we go. That little indentation right here lets this area stick out and this area stick out, so that can tell the person looking at it that those are the front legs. Okay, now to really bring that point home, I'm going to give him just the tiniest of paws, just little tiny clay beads, scratched and wet down in front here. Score and slip anything that you're attaching. Scoring and slipping is how you would glue the clay. You use the wire brush dipped into watered down clay and press it together. And we can even add fur over those little paws. There. Okay. Now, the tail is nice and fluffy and also very furry, and it's so fluffy at the end Then I'm going to leave it fat on one end and a little narrower where it comes out from the back of his spine. So I'm going to line that up. And again, we're going to brush in that texture with the wire brush. And then when coloring with glaze, I would certainly define where the white tip starts with a white glaze and then leave the rest more of an orange tone. I'm going to scratch and wet this on. And scratch and wet this. Have it come from behind and kind of curl around him. Okay, now the head looks about right, doesn't it? So I'm going to take a lump of clay and go around and around. When I go around and around with my hands like this, I tend to end up with this, well, okay, that was pretty round. I usually end up with a kind of a peak. Okay, so you see the peak here and you see the peak here. The nose of a fox has a peak to it. So I like to extend that peak from when I'm rolling the clay in my hands and just draw it down and forward a little bit more, exaggerating it, and give it that narrow nose. But then I'll come back and extend the sides of his cheeks, the ends of his cheeks, and exaggerate that as well to make it look like the face of a fox. Okay, and they have large triangular ears. So when I do this with my fingers, I end up making a triangle. So what I'll do is I'll take some clay and put the clay in my fingertips like that to define the ears. Same thing for the other one. Okay. Now I'm going to look at it and see. Hee hee. You know, it might be a little cartoony, but it's kind of fun and it's cute. And to me, it says it's a fox. So I'm going to score and slip those ears on. And then I'll brush in the fur growing on his ears and head as well. Just going to fasten it, make sure it's really secure, smoothing it together. And use this tool again to brush the fur in. Carefully, so not to knock the ears off. Bring it down the face. Ooh, and the cheeks are so furry, so I definitely want to brush that outward. There. So just to symbolize that he has eyes, I'm going to use the butt of my needle tool, the end of my needle tool, to just give it a little indentation. And then I will scratch and wet the head in place. Let's look at that. So fox have a similar shape as a cat, except it's a little more exaggerated. And if you wanted, you could certainly make little round beaded eyes and attach them on. You can take it as detailed as you'd like, but this gives an impression. I just feel like I'm not exaggerating the cheeks on this one as much as I did on here. So to fix that, I take a lump of clay and I'm going to scratch and wet that lump of clay on. and exaggerate those cheeks a little bit more. We really want to make sure that people don't just mistake it for a cat. So I'm adding that on. And then I'm going to rebrush it to make it look like fur. It is very much a caricature of a fox, but that's fun too. Define the little peak of the nose a little bit more. There you go. Thanks for watching.